Okay, today we're going to look at low pressure sodium fixture and building one. Now this is an old one. These are vintage fixtures from the 70s and 80s. It's made by Philips. It's called a Gold Eye. Uses an 18-watt bulb and provides 1800 lumens of light. So sodium has always been really popular because you get the most amount of illumination per watt. That's why it's used in street lamp lighting, etc. And you get very minimal glare. So I like it, pardon me, I like it for yard lighting. Works great for small areas on the 18-watt like this. But I need another one. Since they're vintage, they're really hard to find. So we're going to build one. Okay, so how do you build one? Well, that's what we're going to look at here. What you need to get, first of all, is all your supplies. Now I've got a table here full of the tools that I've used and the supplies. So we'll start with the supplies. You need one of these PVC weatherproof boxes. Comes with a lid. It has this silicone kind of weather strip inside of it that seals it off. So it's weatherproof PVC box, great for electrical projects, etc. Now, this isn't exactly a step-by-step during the build, which it is kind of a step-by-step middle of the build. This is the metal that's going to serve as the backside of the fixture and as the reflector. You're also going to need a ballast. I'm using this Robertson ballast right here. It is from a 1-lamp fluorescent bulb fixture of a 26-watt bulb. It works really well actually to power this sodium bulb. I've used it in the past and I'm going to use it again here. So, and then you need one of these, the socket that fits the sodium bulb. That's the one thing I don't actually have pictured here is the bulb. I'll show you that later. Now you need to have a lens. So we've got the metal we're going to use. You could use 16 gauge, works well. Then you need a lens for the front. Now the lens material I've used is it's from an acrylic lens and it's called a Slim Jim. I had an old one that was broken on the ends, so I've cut a piece off to use for this. And so yeah, let's just get to the build. Okay, so here's what it's going to look like in the end. This is your fixture. I've already mounted the, we're going to use a dust to dawn sensor as the trigger switch for this circuit. It's already been mounted in here. You can get them in different sizes. This is a very compact one. It fits real easily inside the box. I've drilled holes in the box to accommodate the wiring and the mounting of the box to the body of the fixture. And here's the body of the fixture. I've designed this one with a clear base. You could do a metal base to it if you wanted. I'm going to hold it up to the other fixture here for an example for you. There they are. So as you can see, the new one is clear. The old one is very yellowed. So I'm excited to see how the illumination is going to be impacted by that once this is installed and functioning. And you can see they're very much the same size. Okay, so let's examine the fixture as it's been put together so far. Like I said, this is kind of the middle of the build, so it's not really step by step, but we'll walk you through it. Now, the lens is going to slip right into here, and this backing plate is going to support it. Got the same on the other side. track for the lens, the lip of the lens to slip into, and a backing plate to support it, so it's not going to move anywhere. The top part, when you fold it over, I've reinforced that with 2 pieces in the corners, riveted in, bent at 90 degrees. Now this whole thing serves as the back of the fixture and as a reflector, so it doesn't have to be very deep. It's actually only about 1.5 inches, so it's pretty shallow. It's all you need. The width of the bulb is only about 2 inches, so it'll fit in here perfectly. I bent the bottom up that same height because, like I said, I wanted to have a clear base to this fixture instead of all metal all the way up. Okay, I've put the cover on here. I want to show you how this slides in there. The lip just slides right in there. Just like so. You can push on that, it's not going to slip down, it's not going to go anywhere because you got that backing plate to support it, and it sits, the lip sits right in that little trough, so it's perfect. Now to have the clear base, what I've done is I've cut out a piece of acrylic from the Slim Jim, and it'll fit right in the bottom here. Now to slip it in the bottom though, it has to have something to hold it. So very similar to what I did on the side with this backing plate, I put an inside backing plate and riveted that on to the inside of the fixture. So this, being cut to the right shape, slides right in there and stays. Okay, so that's the basic of it. Once you have your metal cut out, I'd suggest when you're cutting it out, trim the edges a little larger than what you're going to need so you can do your final trims and file them down to a nice smooth edge. And the same goes for the acrylic too. You know, cut everything just maybe a little bit larger than what you need so you've got some wiggle room, and then trim it at the end for a nice clean finish. Same goes for the top. Got a nice clean finish there. All the edges have been filed down nice and smooth. And then you just pull this out. You can see right up from the bottom side into the fixture. And this slides with ease. And there you go. So those are the mounting holes for the socket and for the extra bolts that we're going to attach the body to the box with. Okay, now I want to go over some of the tools that you're going to need to do this job. So you're going to be working with metal, so you're going to need a couple of clamps to clamp it down. You're going to need some kind of a table surface to work on and clamp things onto your metal. Then you're going to use different hammers. Rubber mallet works good. Well, very lightweight ball peen hammer works good. Doing some finish work when you're going to hammer on your metal to get your bends into it. Of course, you're going to need to trim your metal. So you need some tin snips. I've got these straight edge ones here, and these ones here, they're a Wiss. These all work really well. And you're going to need a file down the edges. Now, you'll also need a rotary tool, okay? Like a Dremel kind of deal. You're going to put a little cutting wheel disc on the end for your bit. You'll need a ruler, tape measure, and a marker to mark where you want to bend and cut. I use one of these markers that erases. It's not a permanent marker. That's pretty much everything you're going to need for tools. You might want to use an angle grinder as well. I like this one. It's a Makita 9005B. The 5-inch works really great. Smoothing off some edges, doing some rough cuts, whatever you got to do. So yeah, those are most of the tools that you're going to need to do this job properly. Okay, so since this wasn't really step by step, I'll just sort of walk you through it with a piece of metal here. Since I want to paint this thing, first thing you want to do is take one side of your metal and sand it with some really rough paper. This is 60 grit. Works really well. Sand one side, which will be the back side. Remove some of that coating, makes it easier to paint it. Once you got that done, you're gonna flip it over. This will be your reflector side, the inside. As far as the metal goes, 16 gauge works fine. You could use heavier if you want to, or lighter, I guess. But anyway, 16 is okay. So what you need to do is measure. Now, like I said, you can get the specs for whatever lens that you're using. I'm using a Slim Jim lens. Whatever you've got handy. If you want to go buy something, get one of these. Like I said, it dimensions it very close to the vintage fixture that I've got. Works well. This thing measures 9.5 inches. Right there. That's the size you're going to need to fit the socket and the bulb in there. So, your first bend, actually your first mark, is going to be, you're going to measure down as far as you need for the top of the fixture. Then you're going to want to mark a line in and in from both sides, leaving the center space wide enough to fit whatever your size is required for your lens. So once you've marked here and here, trim those. Measure down as far as you need, in this case 9.5 inches, and you're going to cut again and again. Then these sections here you're going to fold up and up, and those will be the sides. Those will be the sides. So now you'll have the back and the side. Once you've got the side folded up, you need to bend it over. Okay? That makes the little trough for the lip of the lens to sit in. So you bent this up, you bent this up, then you want to fold it over that way and that way to make your crease. Then you can take the top side and bend it up. Once you bent the top side up, then you want to take a couple of scrap pieces, bend them into 90-degree little elbows like that, and rivet them into the corners for extra support on the top side of the fixture. Then what you want to do is take 2 more strips of metal, that same length that you trimmed here, 9.5 inches in this case, and you want to bend them into 90-degree elbows as well. And those you're going to rivet on the side underneath where you bent it over to form a track. And then rivet that in there because that forms your backing plate for the lens. That gives you the support you need. So you can push down on this, lift up, push down. There's no real substantial room there, I mean. That just slips in there real easy. And it stays, doesn't move. It's solid. Then what you want to do So you bent this side up, you bent this side up, you bent that over and that over for a lip. You've now bent this up for the top. You've riveted in your corners. Now you come down to the bottom where you've trimmed here and here. You're going to want to trim the rest of this bottom off. Again, in this case, about 1.5 inches. And then you're going to fold that up. And that's going to be the bottom part right there. Then what you need, if you're going to have a clear bottom, like I am on this one, you need another track for your bottom piece of acrylic to sit in, like that. So, same thing. Get another piece, bend it 90 degrees, and rivet it in through the back side of your fixture. Once you've got that, this just slips in and out real easy. Okay. Okay, so after you made all your bends, did all your riveting, everything's secure, now you need to trim it. Trim the edges down so they fit nice and neat between the lens and the rest of the body of the fixture, so everything looks nice. Then file it nice and smooth with your file. Remember, when you're cutting, use the rotary tool, use your Dremel tool, what have you. Don't try and cut the acrylic with your hacksaw, you're just going to wreck it. For drill bits, I like using step drill bits for some of this material. It works really well. And yeah, so we'll move on to the box now. I've already pre-drilled this. It doesn't come with all those holes, but they are to match what I've drilled into the top of the fixture here. So that's going to be our attachment point. So what you're going to wind up with is this, the bottom of your box. You're going to drill holes in to match up with the holes that you drilled in your fixture box. There. So this is where the wires are going to run through for the socket. So the socket is going to sit here, the wires are going to run through there into the box. These two holes are going to take the screws through one side and nuts on the other. That will hold the base, the socket base, on. This one, and this one are additional screws that we're going to put through and attach from the other side with nuts, just to secure the whole thing more. And it's actually going to provide a grounding point from the inside for the circuit. Okay, so here's what you're going to wind up with. Your socket on here, screwed down through there, and then extra screw holes there, one of which is going to be a ground screw on the inside of the box for a circuit. Now onto the lid. The lid of the box is going to be the top side of the fixture. That's where you're going to drill a hole through. You can put it anywhere through you want. I've put it kind of through to one side, but drill a hole through, appropriate sized for whatever dusk to dawn fixture switch that you're using. This is a small one. They're different sizes. This one's pretty small, so the hole isn't very big. But drill through a hole, whatever size you need to fit your day-night sensor in, and then attach it. It goes on with a little rubber washer in there to weatherproof it. The same as the lid has its own gasket material in there too to weatherproof the whole box. And like I said, once you're done, you wind up with this. So in the end, you're going to wind up with this. Yeah, here's one other tool that you need too. One of these metal bending vice grip things. They work really good. And speaking of other tools, here are those step drill bits I was talking about. Man, they work really great. And if you need drill bits, you need to have a drill too. So, okay, I'm going to go over the basics for connections of the circuit. Now, if you don't know what you're doing when it comes to wiring, please hire a professional. In any case, make sure that the code is followed. So, basic for wiring this circuit is as follows. This is going to be our wire coming in from our power source. Okay, so you've got 3 on here. You've got a white, black, and a bare copper. White is neutral, black is hot, bare copper is your ground. This is a switched circuit, the day-night sensor. So, hot in, your black, is going to go to the black, going into your switch, your sensor. White is your neutral, ties off to the white neutral coming in. The red is your hot out. Once the switch turns, power comes out on the red. That is going to go into the black, the hot, of the ballast. The white on the ballast is going to tie off with your neutral. That stays as part of your neutral circuit. And the blue coming out of the ballast is your hot. That goes to the lamp. That's your controlled, regulated power supply. That's going to go on to the black lead of your lamp socket. And the white is going to tie off with the white. To tie these things off, you need these things here, little twist connectors called morettes. They come in various sizes, depending on what gauge of wire and how many wires you're connecting together. Again, if you're not sure what to do, consult the code or hire a professional. I'm using number 10 screws and nuts to attach the plastic box through the holes that we drilled to the metal housing of the fixture itself. Now, one of these, as I said, this ballast does fit inside this box, so you can mount it in there, or you could mount it externally if you want to save the weight. In my case, I'm going to mount it externally to save the weight. Now, this particular ballast is grounded on the body. So your mounting screw has to be attached to your ground circuit. No problem if you're mounting it in the box, no extra run of wire required. If you're mounting it externally, when your screw comes up through here, use that as a place to attach an extra ground wire that goes from here through a hole you drill in the box where all your wires come in, that goes out to wherever your ballast is mounted, and attach that to the mounting screw of the body of the ballast. And there you have it. Okay, so there's one more thing that you have to put in the fixture here. Right here you gotta rivet a little tab in there that this coat hanger wire, you trim this coat hanger wire up like that, and that holds your bulb in place like this. Now the bulb, you can see there's some play in the bulb, and so this is your little support, and that's what holds it on. So that's the end of the fixture. Oops. Going to slip this cover back on. Oh, and of course that's the bulb, by the way. I told you I was going to show you the bulb later. That's the 18 watt low pressure sodium Phillips bulb. It's an old one. It's kind of dark looking, but anyway, there it is. That just slides right on there. And this slides right in there. And it's done. Okay, well, that's the lamp. I'll show you a scene here yet where it's lit and how that looks. And for now, I'll just say thanks for watching. I hope this has helped somebody if you're interested in building your own fixture. That's kind of a how-to on it. And you can leave a comment if you want. And of course, give it a thumbs up. So appreciate you watching and have a great day. Bye.